Welcome to Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It's the first match day, Champions League edition, 2023-2024 season of the Champions League here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It's the best place that you can get in terms of all the tactical analysis or the preview. Do all to like, subscribe, and share, guys. Do all to like, subscribe, and share. Do all to like, subscribe, and share. It is very, very important that you do like, subscribe, and share. It's important that you like, subscribe, and of course, turn on the notification button as well. It's very, very important. It's the Champions League conversation, the first match day preview of the top games. I think there are about 5 top games tomorrow. We preview all of them and we get straight into it. But then really, the Champions League is about stories and it all starts here. I've personally said several times that if you want to talk about the Champions League, then essentially I'm going to talk about the various stories of these players, where they come from, how they've gotten to where they've gotten to. Because really, that's the greatest competition in club football as it stands. And every player across the length and breadth of the world, across every nook and cranny in the world, would want to play in the Champions League, and this is a big opportunity for everybody. So yeah, thank you very much. Let's get straight into it. Tomorrow, there are beautiful games. Now, first of all, it is the first story of the boy that was born in Milan, grew up in Milan. His grandfather actually was a huge member of the Milanisti group, or the Ultras of Milan. He, of course, is a Milanisti through and through. For some reason, for financial reasons, for the fact that his boyhood club needed money, he had to be sold to Newcastle United to go out, just so his club can make some good money. The boy, Sandro Tonali, I mean, just because his team, his boyhood club needed money, he had to be sold. And tomorrow marks the return of the boyhood Milanisti back to Milan and back to the city in which he grew up, back to his boyhood club, back to the San Siro, back to the place where he wowed almost everybody at the Stadio San Siro. It is time for him to, I mean, maybe the fairy tale will be that Sandro Tonali heads a goal into the back of the net against Newcastle tomorrow. And for Newcastle tomorrow, and his boyhood fans will be worried of their position. But we'll see how tomorrow pounds out. But generally in that game, Stefano Pioli's side last season were in the semi-finals of the Champions League. It was a good run for them, a beautiful run for them. In fact, at the time last season, you would say the in-depth, the squad in-depth, the quality in-depth of AC Milan wasn't the best. This time they have quality. They have backups for Rafael Leao, they have backup for Olivier Giroud, they have backup for even an Ismail Benasser who is injured. They have new profiles for Sandro Tonali, who has left. There is Robin Loftus-Cheek, there's Krunic, there's Ismail Benasser in the middle of the pack. Of course, up top there's Olivier Giroud, there is Rafael Leao, there is Christian Pulisic, there is Samuel Chukwueze. They are top players across the field of play for Milan. And again, in this game, in the game where they played in the Italian Serie A against Internazionale Milan, where they had missed their mainstay top centre-back in Oluwafikayo Tomori. Tomorrow, they are going to get Oluwafikayo Tomori on the field of play. He's going to be partnered either with Malik Thiaw or Pierre Kalulu. These are 2 players that he's comfortable playing with. And either of them, he's going to be comfortable leading the lines at the back and being the general at the back for Milan. I'm excited for Oluwafikayo Tomori. He had his Champions League debut under Frank Lampard at Chelsea. Things didn't go well when Frank Lampard got sacked. He had to leave the club. He fell down a pecking order. Easily, he opened the doors for a lot of English players, and really, he has been brilliant for them. So yes, Oluwafikayo Tomori is going to be in there for them. Mike Maignan is going to be in the team. So it's a fully fledged AC Milan team coming, playing tomorrow as the opener at San Siro for them. And it's off the back of losing to Inter Milan, the same team that bundled out of the competition in the semi-finals last season. Inter seems to have a hold on AC Milan, but they need to start afresh. Stefan Pioli has said it time and again that it's a new season for them. They want to try and win, and they have the quality, they have the players. They've done some very good business in their team, and they know that they can get it done. So that's it on the story of Newcastle is a club in Townside in the UK, in the northern part of England, where really there was never a story about the Champions League. It was always the name of Alan Shearer who brought them that glory. This time they are in the Champions League. After Eddie Howe did breathe some fresh air into them, they have had the cash injection into the club. He has given them exactly what they need to get. They are at the top. They've done some very good purchases. Alexander Isak and them up top for them. Anthony Gordon. They've bought some of the best players that they need to buy. Livramento from the Chelsea Academy. They got a very young Harvey Vale, who also joined from the Chelsea Academy. It's a good team. It's a mix of experience, mix of English players and also foreigners like Miguel Almiron, like Bruno Gamarash. Of course, they've let somebody like Alam Saint Maxim also leave for Saudi Arabia. But essentially, the core of the team is that they've gotten an experienced Harvey Barnes who gives you that directness. Also for them from the outside, as of course different from what Alan Saint Maxim will give to you. So it's a team that really has it all. But where would the game be won? Where would the game be played? It's a quick one. I think that Milan are going to go into that 4-3-3. The same lineup, barring that there's going to be Oluwafika Tomori that comes into the team, like different from the one that played against International Milan. In the middle of the park, of course, you're going to get Krunic, Reinders, and of course, your man Robin Loftus-Cheek starting in the Champions League, and then up top, Pulisic, Rafael Leao, and then down the middle, Olivier Giroud. I think the game is going to come down to the physicality of the Newcastle play and the transition of the game. So in Champions League games, I need to say this every time, tactical control of games is lost a lot of the time because of the transitional play of the game, because of the momentum of the game. It's always on the run. Nobody really seems to have a foothold of the game. And those are able to thrive in the chaos are those that are able to win a lot of Champions League games. Newcastle's way of playing has been like that. It's the same way that International Milan have failed to win. AC Milan have failed to win against International Milan in recent times. Newcastle thrive in the chaos. But how really are we going to do this against a fully packed San Siro? I think essentially, regardless of how everything will go, I'm tipping AC Milan a double chance at least against Newcastle United. Now to the next game, FC Barcelona. They've done a wonderful job. Matthew Alemany, Javi, brilliant job that they've done. In the Spanish La Liga, people were complaining about what they could get in terms of the fact that Lewandowski wasn't scoring. But yesterday, you saw the importance of Joao Felix as a connector in the team. You saw the importance of a much more fluid, inverted fullback in Joao Cancelo, who comes inverted and then dictates the pace of the game as a deep line playmaker, even from fullback areas. He was brilliant yesterday for the team. They've also been encouraged. We are also excited because Ronald Araujo has returned from injury and is back into the team. Yes, maybe he may not be starting, but against a team like Royal Antwerp, you were expecting that at home, yes, not a spiritual home of Barcelona, but you still expect that they have the quality, they have the men. Marco van Bommel has been doing an exciting job at Antwerp. But then really, you look at how FC Barcelona are playing. Now they have the connectors. Now they have inside number 10s that can get a job done. Pedri, Gavri, Joao Felix, and then of course in the middle of the park, Aurelio Romeo and the likes can really get a job done for them. There's good connection. That the 4-box-4 shape for them is going to be a good one for them. Joao Felix is going to be very integral. When Cancelo comes inverted, very integral. It helps get players in close proximity to Robert Lewandowski. And then, of course, he can dart and get in behind the lines to get a goal for them. So you're expecting, I am really expecting that tomorrow, Barcelona wins the game and that's it over 2.5 as well in Spain. Then we go into the next game. There's the Lazio versus Atletico de Madrid. It's a big game. Big game. Let no one lie to you. Mauricio Sarri has a funny story in the Champions League. He doesn't seem to succeed it. But really, in his first major European competition outside of Italy, I mean, when he coached outside of Italy for Chelsea, he won it. And he won the Europa League for Chelsea. So it means that when he goes, Mauricio Sarri really doesn't have the charisma and the character as a person or as a manager. But when he goes into teams that are able to get that part of his side that he doesn't have, and marries it together, and they marry it, he's able to get things done. And it was a story at Naples when he was at Napoli, where really he wasn't that guy. He wasn't that charismatic person, but he was in a team of a lot of clouds in the southern part of Italy where nothing really went on. But when the Neapolitans jumped on him, they went very far, nearly. In fact, people always say that they are the best place, second place Italian team in terms of the Scudetto ever since the competition started. But does the Lazio team have the clouds to play against Atletico de Madrid? I mean, I watched Lazio against Juventus, and I thought that they had a midfield of character, especially with the inclusion of Matteo Guendouzi in the middle of the park, to be able to outrun Fagioli, Locatelli, and Adrian Rabiot in the middle of the park. But it wasn't so. It was a midfield that was much more lethargic. It didn't really have the bites that you expect Mauricio Sarri's team to have, especially tactically. And in transitions, they were beaten. They were not that composed. They were not solid off the ball. Their defensive transitions weren't the best in a game against Juventus, and they fluffed their chances. And of course, Juventus didn't win that game. I think it's going to be the same way against Atletico de Madrid. Madrid will sit off. They want to catch them on the break. They would want to be quick and catch them on the counter attack and the space that they leave behind. I think this game will count down to the character and how Mauricio Sarri's teams will be able to thrive. I mean, in the chaos, like I've always said, in a game like this, it's going to be a tough one for him. But I'll still want to put my money on them, on Lazio, and say it's a double chance for Lazio at home at the Olimpico. I think that they can get this job done in Rome. They can really get this job done. I'm expecting a brilliant tactical display from my man Mauricio Sarri, regardless of the fact that his teams are somewhat. City are playing at home. Nothing else to say. City are expected to win in over 1.5. Pep Guardiola says, you know what? I mean, there's a lot to say. Winning the Champions League is not really the big deal. It's about doing it back to back like Madrid have done. I mean, literally saying that he wants to chase a second Champions League berth after the, consecutive one with Manchester City. We'll see how that goes, but we expect them to win tomorrow. Erling Haaland should be scoring tomorrow as an anytime goal scorer in the Champions League tomorrow. Bernardo Silva signed his contract extension. Kyle Walker did stay. Jeremy Doku. So you watch the West Ham United game and you look at how brilliant Pep Guardiola is. Congest central areas with a lot of inside turns and then keep one outside wide player, who takes on players 1v1. Is able to do that job brilliantly well. Jeremy Doku. He announced himself yesterday at the London Olympic Stadium. He was brilliant. And I think that Man City have a lot of firepower. Seven that are not going to be able to stand it. Now to the big game also at the Parc des Princes. The story of Paris Saint-Germain has been, I don't know, one that has been difficult to describe. So really, you don't know if Paris Saint-Germain are actually out of the woods or not, because there isn't enough clarity, enough information on the clarity or not of Kylian Mbappe's contract. And there's a possibility that Madrid will come for him in 2024, or somebody else will come for him. But yes, they have some form of stability, some form of calmness at the Parc des Princes. And that's exactly what Luis Enrique wanted in his team. He wanted people that want to play in the game. In fact, in the last game where they played, they did mention that, after the fact, although they lost, he felt that his players did play well. He was very excited about them. Luis Enrique is very, very experienced in terms of the Champions League. Remember that famous Remontada against Paris Saint-Germain when Unai Emery was there. He led it at Barcelona. So he knows exactly how to play. And I'm excited about Luis Enrique because he's a kind of manager that marries a lot of the ball retention and possessional play with much more directness in the game. He's also the kind of manager that looks beyond just the tactical aspects of the game. He understands the psychological part of the game, the emotional part of the game, which is also very important, especially in Champions League games that are a little wishy-washy and a little ragged. So it's a game that he knows that he can play. I think Thursday's Dortmund side after last season have lost some key players. They aren't really where you expect them to be. In fact, building on what they had last season is going to be much more difficult than even what they did last season. Given the issues that they had, Rafael Guerrero is out, of course, Jude Bellingham is out. It's about building on that, and with fairly new players, that's going to be a tough one for them. So that's the issue. But at the Parc des Princes, if you look at this Paris Saint-Germain team of Kylian Mbappe, in fact, imposed Gianluigi Donnarumma. You may say whatever you want of Gianluigi Donnarumma, but he's one of the best young goalkeepers around. A centre-back pair of personal Kimpembe Marquinhos. I love Marquinhos with what he gives you as a player. Full-back, what he gives you, Achraf Hakimi, and then Hernandez. Now you go into the middle of the park. It's a fair balance of Manuel Ugarte, Vitinha in the middle of the park for them, and of course Emery. That's a brilliant in terms of balance on the ball and off the ball, and then of course the manipulation of space in the middle of the park that you need for every team, and the directness that you'd want from Emery. That comes because he's playing under someone like Luis Enrique. Then up top, Dembele, Ousmane Dembele, Kylian Mbappe. Then you have Randall Colomwani or Gonzalo Ramos. It's a brilliant lineup. I think the issue of Paris Saint-Germain and Luis Enrique in the last game that they played is about how to deal with the defensive transitions, and it's same for Mauricio Sarri's Lazio team. How to switch on, especially when playing against a team that's going to prioritize a transitional game like Eden Terzi's Dortmund. But I still expect that Paris Saint-Germain will get a job done tomorrow. So we are excited. The Champions League is in. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. This is our preview of all the games tomorrow. It's match day 1. You don't want to miss any game. And this is analysis that you would want to listen to. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. I'll see you tomorrow. Do all, turn on notifications. Bye.